How many of us have watched a new movie on Amazon or Netflix recently? Likely a lot of people. And how many of us have thought about how movie production actually makes money? A survey conducted shows that out of the 33% of people who actually wanted to attend movies this year, only about half ended up attending the movies, and others couldn't attend movies because theaters were shut down, and others probably were just afraid of contracting COVID, even in places where those regulations were starting to ease up, which is completely understandable. Hi everyone, I'm Kaushik Subramanian, and I'm a freshman at Purdue University studying engineering. As college students and young adults, we go to the movies for anywhere from just hanging out with friends to going out on dates, and we make up a large portion of the people who go to movies in the population. So we should think about how the film industry is facing several new communication challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic this year. The US film industry has faced a great amount of changes due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and today I'll specifically be talking about how there are fewer moviegoers and how that decrease in ticket sales has impacted revenue for the film production companies. And then I will also be talking about how it's increasingly difficult for film production companies to actually make movies in accordance with social distancing and other COVID-19 regulations. So movies actually make most of their revenue from people going to the theater and those ticket sales, and that's clearly not able to happen right now because for a large portion of this year, um, the movie theaters were shut down and because people were afraid to go to the movies, not as many people and there weren't as many tickets sold, and multinational research and accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers told thehollywoodreporter.com on September 3rd of 2020 that there's a 65.7% decline in cinema revenue, and this just shows how much the film production companies depend on those ticket sales to make their revenue. And companies are now releasing their movies on online streaming services such as Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and Disney Plus because they're not able to make as much profit from people going to the movies and those ticket sales. How on the company selling movies to all these online streaming services works is essentially that those companies uh, just sell the movies to these online streaming services, and members who have subscriptions to these online streaming services can just access these movies for as long as the company has a contract with the online streaming service. Variety Media Newsletter on June 3rd of 2020 reports that Paramount and STX Media are actually beginning to sell a lot of their movies on these online streaming services because they realize that they're not able to make as much profit this year, especially because, just from those ticket sales, and their revenue has started to go down severely. Another way the film industry is facing communication challenges is in just difficulties in making movies because of COVID-19 regulations. These film production companies are still able to actually able to film their movies in places where there's non-essential businesses are able to be open. But even then, they're required to follow social COVID-19 regulations that we're familiar with, such as hand sanitizing, social distancing, continual testing, COVID-19 testing, and making sure that the density of cast and crew members on set isn't over a certain amount. And CNBC.com on June 5th of 2020 says that the film production process has actually been extended severely for most companies because uh, following these regulations is taking so much time out of their production process, and not following closely with their timeline. It can make a big impact on the company's revenue because so much of their revenue depends on how closely they follow their timeline and how quickly they make their movie. And as a solution for this, see, a lot of film production companies are now moving to a more virtual production of movies. And what virtual production is that essentially that it's essentially where actors can just be filmed from anywhere across the world, and they need is a green screen, and those clips of videos are just essentially just sent to editing companies, and there's a much greater emphasis on the editing portion of the movie rather than this expensive equipment and the filming and the interaction between all the cast and crew members. and this actually works pretty well during the pandemic. CNBC.com on May 23rd of 2020 tells that this increase in virtual production is actually going to continue even in the future because those film production companies are seeing how much of an increased profit they're able to make by not having to fly actors from across the world. And this film industry has faced several communication challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic this year by fewer people going to the movies and the decrease in ticket sales and their revenue. And they're also not able to make movies as efficiently because of the COVID-19 regulations. And this is how the film industry has faced several new communication challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic this year.